Hello everyone, welcome to Alice's Kitchen. We are sharing with you yet another exciting edition. This week we made a 2-tier cake. So I'm just here to share with you some tips. Whether you're a first timer or you've done this several times, I'm sure there will be something that you can take home from this. So to start off, because I had to transport the cake and where I was going was a bit far from home, I decided to transport the cake as 2 separate tiers. So I had my 9-inch and I had my 6-inch, and the plan was I'll get to the venue and then I'll assemble the 2 together. So I'm just gonna share with you on that some must-haves that you should carry in your bag. And these you should have whether or not you're assembling your cake at home, because you never know, during transportation something can happen and you need to touch up your cake when you get to the venue. So I've got with me my tea towel. This you will need whether or not you're assembling at the venue, because you never know, you might need to wipe something, you might need to use it just to have your cake sit on so it's stable in the car. And also a good substitute to have is heaps of paper towel. You can never have enough paper towel, so make sure you've got lots of paper towel. I've got my scissors, my kitchen scissors. I will explain to you shortly what I'll be using this for. It's also good if you have the industrial type scissors, because there'll be some cutting that you'll be doing of some hard stuff. And then I have got 2 different types, and then because you never know, I could use this one to lift the cake, this one for smoothing the sides. Always have, you can have more than 2, you can just have 1. It's all up to you. Icing, always make sure that you carry extra in case your cake gets smudged or you need to touch up something. So always make sure that you have at least a cup of your buttercream, whatever it is that you're using to ice your cake. Always have extra. And then I've got here 2 different types of doughs that I will be using. This is to balance, so they go into the bottom tier in order to support the top, so that it doesn't sit in a funny sort of way or you're not worried about it falling off. So this is why you need the scissors, because then you measure this based on the height of your bottom tier, and then you want to cut it at the height that you want. So on a normal day, like this is actually what you're meant to do. You are meant to do this at home, like after you've finished icing your bottom tier. If you're going to assemble at the venue, you can wait until you get to the venue, but I did this at home because there was a lot of measuring and cutting that I had to do. So I had these done at home. You will need, depending on how many tiers and how many inches. So I had 9 inches at the bottom and 6 at the top. So because I had 6 at the top, I had 5 of these. So 4 sitting around and 1 sitting in the middle. So I've got a different one here, which is like a wooden one. It all depends what you want to use, but these are much stronger, and these are just reusable straws that I just got from the store. And then I've got here a disposable piping bag. So again, like I said, you might need to do some touch-ups. So this is obviously where your icing will be going, and then you will snip. It's all up to you. If you want to pipe some decorations, then you have to carry your tip, whichever tip you're going to use. It all depends on you. A cake scraper or smoother here, in case I need to smooth something out. This works 2 different ways. I can use it to lift up my cake. It's very stable and very good for lifting up the cake, especially when it's sitting on another board and you need to lift it up. This is what I use to actually lift my 6-tier cake and have it sit on the my 6-inch cake and have it sit on the 9-inch. And it can also work for smoothing the sides. So it's got double use. So these are my tools that I had in my bag. So now, here's what happened. I got to the venue and I had assumed there was going to be a lovely kitchen or work area where I would assemble my cake, but that was not the case. I actually got there and I had to improvise. But lucky enough, I had my bag, I had all my tools in there, so there was no panicking. I actually used the boot of my car to assemble my cake. So I'll just walk you through quickly the whole process, like what you have to do in terms of assembling the cake and stuff, because I didn't get to record that part. So obviously the first part is you bake your cakes using whatever recipe you want. If you're after some recipes, I've got lots on my channel, you can check them out. Once you've done your cakes, the next thing is to make your frosting. It all depends what you're using, buttercream, fresh cream. And once again, you have to take into consideration if you're traveling, how are you going to transport your cake? How's the weather? The type of icing that you're going to use, is it going to withstand the weather for that day? Those are all things that you need to consider. So I iced my cakes, I did everything to perfection at home, put them in the box, made sure that they were stable and secure to transport. So here's another tip of something that I did. So I had the 6-inch board. Obviously that's where the cakes were stacked on and iced and everything. But that board, I actually set it on top of an 8-inch board to make it easy for me to lift it when I wanted to lift it. And to make sure that it was secure, I actually used some sellotape. Just make sure that you stick your 6-inch board onto the 8-inch so it's secure. It's not gonna be moving around or anything. And then you also, if you have, you can make use of anti-slip mats. So just cut one to the size of your box, or you can actually have it on the floor, like on the boot of your car, and then you sit your cakes on the top. That way they won't be moving around as you transport them. Come the time to assemble, all I had to do was remove my 9-inch cake from the bottom board that was holding it, and I just put it down on the table where I needed it to go. And then because my doughs were already in, I didn't have to worry about this because I had measured them at home, I had cut them to the right height. All I had to do was add some frosting on top of them. This is to make sure that your other cake can sit. And now, before you do that, what I did is I had a spare 6-inch board. I used that to draw around to mark the space where the 6-inch cake was actually going to sit. So you want it to be in the middle, leaving the same distance on your sides. So there's a lot of measurements that you have to do and you have to be really careful. So after I had done that, I just drew a line around just to mark my area. Once I had marked my area, that's when I then put these. And so you just have to leave like enough distance in between the 4 of them that will be supporting the sides. And you have to make sure that where these are going is where your board for the 6-inch cake is going to be sitting. And then you will need a taller one to sit in the middle. So ideally, you want to have a hole at the bottom of your 6-inch board. You have to do this before you put your cake on there, by the way. It's not gonna work once your cake is on there. So the idea is you push this into your 9-inch cake. Once it's in, you then bring your 6-inch, goes through, the straw goes through, you push it down, and then it sits perfectly. Once you've done that, you're almost there. All you need to do now is to make sure that you neaten up. So usually there'll be like a gap that will be left in between the 2 cakes. So this is where you then use your piping bag, put your frosting in, and then just do like whatever pattern design that you can think of to just fill that gap around. And then once you have done that, if there's any smoothing that you need to do, if there's any patching, maybe you've accidentally touched the sides of your cake and some frosting has come off, you use your extra frosting that you have, and then you just touch that up to make sure that it looks beautiful. And that's it. You've got your 2 layers of cake. If you want to make it fancy by putting flowers like I did to mine, this is the stage where you would then come with the flowers. You can use fresh flowers. Just make sure that you watch the stem and that all of them are safe to be actually on the cake, because there are some that can make people sick or can cause allergies, so make sure you check. I always go for artificial flowers to be safe, and even with those I always wash them, and you can always also use some foil paper just to wrap around the stem, and then you push it into your cake. So these were just a few tips that I thought I would share with you today. Would love to hear from you if you've got any other tips that you think might be helpful for someone who's doing it for the first time, or even for some other people who are experienced, they might not know any of these tips. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed and that you find this helpful. I'll be back with another video where I'll actually show you the whole process from assembling, from icing the cakes until everything is stacked and looking all good. Till next time, bye!